Thanks for tuning in to the Unaffiliated Creators Podcast. I'm your host, kaeveryday. This is the Indie Artist Safe Place, so take off your shoes, get comfortable, and stay a while. Do us a favor and please rate the show. And if you have any feedback for us, please email us at unaffiliatedcreatives@gmail.com. Today, I was given an opportunity to interview 757 Zone, none other than CJ Upton, a man that wears many hats. He's a music producer, the CEO of Unity 7 Entertainment, a restaurant owner, and a real estate developer. Now that I've set the stage, CJ, what you been up to?
Hey, man, just living, man. Just living. Living the dream.
Living the dream, huh?
Yeah, man.
I like that. I like a man that's moving and shaking. That's why I wanted to interview you, man. I see you got a lot going on and a lot going on outside of music. And I just wanted to let everybody know, y'all see the background. Y'all see the vibes. We in his restaurant today, so I figured this would be a good backdrop so y'all can really see what's going on out here. All right, with that being said, let me get right into it. So, how did you come up with your music producer name, Gutter Keys?
Wow. So, it was 1995. Actually, before they were saying this word gutter in any capacity. You know what I mean? Gutter wasn't even being a word in 1995.
So you was a trendsetter.
100%.
I like that.
Yeah. I think it was more of I can play the keys. It was more of my style of playing keys. It was a dirty, that old, you know what I mean, dirty kind of smoke room with the jazz playing kind of thing, you know. So that's what I came up with, Gutter Keys, because playing the keys and also having my sound was a lot different in that time.
All right, so this wasn't even a question that I was going to ask you, but since you kind of was describing and painting the picture, I just want to ask you, so you made it a point to emphasize that you was playing the keys, so you really know how to play. You're not one of those producers that just be banging sound pads. You actually know how to play like the piano or something like that.
Yeah, so my father is a minister. I grew up in Berkeley with him being a pastor at a church in Berkeley.
Okay.
And then my grandmother also lived in Berkeley as well, right on Grayson Street. I went to school like Fairlawn, stuff like that. And I kind of learned it from playing in church. So at 6 years old, I could fully play for a whole choir in church and didn't know why. No notes, couldn't read notes, anything.
And that was just that God-given talent that was given to you, man. I appreciate you being humble about it. But I just wanted to let everybody know that you're just not one of them producers that just be banging on the keypads. You actually know how to play the piano. So I just
for sure.
All right.
Yep.
So could you take a few minutes and tell us something about yourself that most people don't know already?
Now, I think more so now I'm more of an introvert. I'm kind of, I'm in the house. After I do all what you see, I go in the house and I'm in there and I'm not coming back out to the next day. So I think people may think I'm everywhere or I'm all over the place. Most of the time, some things may look like that through our marketing and stuff like that, but I'm really in the house. I don't really be around maybe a core group of people, but not too many, not too much. I'm not out too much.
So I hate to say this and don't get offended when I say this, but I think it might be an age thing too. So I'm kind of the same way. So, I used to be out and about always in the scene, when I was, a young Thundercat.
Right.
But when you get a certain age, you get more mature.
Right.
And you get more wisdom and you realize that it ain't always the best thing to always be out there on the scene like that, for safety reasons and other reasons. So I definitely can relate to what you're talking about. So I just wanted to ask you this, and I know you're probably going to think this is a crazy question, but are you related to the Upton brothers that played Major League Baseball that's from the 757 area?
Yeah, so my old man, them guys are much younger than I am.
Okay.
And then I had left the area when they were doing it. I lived in Jersey and New York area for so long. You know what I mean? They were doing their thing or whatever. But my pops, I'm thinking my pop's a preacher. I think they father a preacher. My father and him, they know each other or whatever they got. But me personally, no, I don't know anything about those dynamics.
Okay, but you are related to them.
I think so.
Yeah, the reason why I wanted to ask, because I was like, okay, they all from the 757 area. They
all
got
from
the
Berkeley.
same.
Berkeley. Their pops came from Berkeley, same thing. Chesapeake. My dad lived in Chesapeake. All that, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, they got to be related.
Yeah.
It ain't like it's 1,000 Uptons walking around 757.
It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I like that. So what does a typical day for CJ Upton look like?
So I'm a little off and kind of crazy, right? So I wake up like 4:30, 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock, my mind goes. As soon as I wake up, I'm going to take an hour to read my word. I'm going to get on my knees. I'm going to do my meditation or whatever. And then I'm coming outside. I come to directly to my trainer. I work out in the morning. After I finish workout, go to the job sites, if they need something here or down at the CBD shop. You left that out. I'm also the first black man licensed with cannabis in the state of Virginia. And as you know, down there, Senator Lucas is sitting downstairs, and I put her in the game as well with that.
You see, he's doing a lot of name dropping, so I wasn't gonna bring up I wasn't gonna bring it up. I was gonna let you, take the opportunity to talk about that if you wanted to dive into that. But I like that. So I don't know if y'all really caught what he was saying. So, they say that a lot of successful people share a lot of the same traits, and a lot of the things that you said you do on a daily basis, or a lot of the traits that they say successful people do. So I'll run down a few of them. So they say, they always get up early. So you said that.
I can't sleep.
And they work out. So, he had to mention that he got to get with his trainer. He working out every day. He be posting the clips. If y'all don't believe me, y'all go look it up. He be posting all these workout clips. So, so it's mind, body, and spirit, right? So he done tapped into all of them.
There
So he
go.
wake up early.
There you go.
He say a prayer. He give it, thanks to God, for all the blessings that he's bestowed upon him. And then he get his body right. He with his trainer. And then after that, then he up moving and shaking. So, yes, I don't think it's no coincidence that this man is successful because he follows a lot of the traits.
I'm going to interject with that. I think a lot of stuff that I did early on, because I was chasing. I was always chasing, trying to do this, trying to do that. Even in my music, when I was into the music, I was still always chasing. And I find more peace in where I am now with me doing that, because I had a lot of the failures were necessary, you know what I mean, to thread that and make all those things necessary and bring that to light.
So I like what you said. So I'm just going to kind of paraphrase what you said. So earlier when you was younger, you was chasing money, but now money chase you.
Yeah, because I like to operate in my passions. I like my passions to come here. My staff will tell you, I'm energized. Hey, what y'all, let's get it. Let's go. That's me. Like, let's go. Let's get it. My passion. So whatever that passion is, it'll bring money. If I chase money, it's going to lose me. But if I continue to just operate in my God-given passions and do that, the money going to come.
Gosh almighty, he dropping gems today. Let the church say amen. Matter of fact, let me get this man some sound effects, man. He dropping all kind of gems. All right. So your music journey started back in 1995 with a record you produced for Howard Hewitt. The song was titled Your Body Needs Healing. You have worked with other amazing artists over the years. Mary J. Blige, Jaheim, Leon Silvers, Eric Williams from Blackstreet, and several others. With that being said, if it's not too personal, can you share with us one of your craziest studio session experiences?
So it's going to probably start like when I was young. So Leon Silvers is the Jody Watley, Howard Hewitt, Shalamar's era. He was very particular with his vocals. So when I started, it was nothing digital. We didn't have any of this. Everything was reel to reel. So what he would do when he took me to sessions, he would have me to splice tape. And if anybody know Leon,
wow.
he would be very upset because you can't digitally undo it. So I would get cussed out or made to go do food runs or something like that while he had to splice the tape to fix what I did. And there's another one. When I signed with Mary, and it was probably like 8 of us all around the country. Myself, like Guy Floyd, K-Mac, Bless, which was the Soul Diggers. They did a lot of stuff with Missy and whatever. And Hope, it was all of us put together when MJB did her label when she left for Puff. So I was one of the ones that were chosen throughout the country to be signed to that label. So we in a meeting, and so we had to have these meetings. They're New Yorkers, and they high energy. So imagine Puff, high energy, you in a room, Kurt Burrows, he got the same type of energy. So you get to put your CD in the cassette and say, you're up. So I'm up, and I got the heat. He took my CD out the cassette player and broke it in half and threw it across and was like, yo, next time you bring me, I don't want this. He's just like real intense.
Wow.
And like, I want the record you give me basically at 1 o'clock midnight when everybody drunk in the club, I want that record playing. That ain't it. So I learned tough. And so I think some of that displays, I don't think it translates all the way well sometimes with me being in Virginia. But I definitely had some tough lessons.
Wow. So let me get this right. So he didn't want you to build it up. So he didn't want you to save your best for the last one. He wanted it to be like that first one, the first couple of seconds. If it didn't grab his attention and had him dancing around or whatever, it wasn't it.
That's it.
Wow.
Yep.
Man, if that would have happened to me, man, I probably would have been devastated. I probably would have got out the game.
So the difference with me, I took it as a challenge. Like, oh, you don't like it? Okay, I'll be back. That's how I am. I lost. Oh, you think I lost? I'll be back. I'm still like that to the day. If you think, no, I'm not, I got to come, I got to win, I got to be a winner. I'm not going to lose, so.
Wow. Thanks, Diddy, for breaking the CD, man. Now you inspired this man. Now he done moved on.
That was Kurt Burrows that broke the CD.
Okay. I ain't want to, okay.
Yeah, that was Kurt Burrows. Okay. But he's the 50-50 partner of Bad Boy with him as well. Yeah,
gotcha.
He was.
All right, so I've seen pictures with you with plaques on the wall behind you. So with that being said, talk to us about how it feels to be an accomplished music producer.
I'm not going to use the word feel because, I don't want to say feels, but
Okay.
I have gratification to know that from this area where I'm from, I don't think too many people have accomplished that. Especially back then, especially from that time and then moving forward. I think cats have done that now, but I just feel good about guys like Bink, and Bink was around, and I think
Knots.
Yeah, and it was like really
Teddy Riley.
Yeah, but they were more. Teddy wasn't from here. I'm talking about
yeah, but he moved down. I got you.
I'm talking about grassroots guys from here.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I remember the first day I didn't know Bing, but he was signed to MJB. He did the MJB too, with Kurt Burrows was the manager. And I remember the first time I heard that brother, I walked in the studio and I just thought his sound was amazing. So, I know that we are very talented here, and I find that I've been able to do something that only a handful of people coming out of our 757 area has been able to do. But I'm glad about that. I like that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it was you, Bink, Knots, and I know I'm gonna forget some people.
Hannon Lane.
Yep. Of course, you had Timberland and Pharrell.
Mm-hmm.
And there's others, but those are the ones that I guess broke out and kind of made it where everybody know who they are. So, and Missy.
Yeah,
Missy was produced as well. All right, so with that being said, I hate to put you on the hot seat, but I got to ask you, so if you could, give me your top 5 music producers, dead or alive, and you can put them in any order.
I'm going to go with Leon Silvers for vocal arrangements. Teddy Riley. Babyface. Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. And give me Dr. Dre.
That was a good list. The only person that I would probably put, if I had to come up with a top 5 that some people probably forget about, maybe because he just did it so long ago, was Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Quincy, I mean, there wouldn't be no MJ without Quincy.
Yeah,
so that's why
he's a great arranger.
Yeah, that's why I always got to put him in the top 5.
Okay.
All right. So take a few minutes and talk to us about Unity 7 Entertainment and what unique opportunities it is given to independent music artists.
So, Unity 7, I started on the basis of another producer here. I was really out of the game. I really wasn't thinking anything about music. And, some of the young folk, since I had this restaurant, a lot of young folk knew I was into music. So, hey, come on, man, want to get into this, and the third. All right. So I put a recording studio across the street and allowed them things to manifest through their work. There's a thing they got out now, like with the guy Rico Santana, where I had the studio. He was running that. He got the Link Up, which is a podcast that was birthed over there. There's a lot of, just a lot of things that I wanted to put into place, and I just started this record company, and I'm left with it. Those things didn't work out. So now I'm left with it, and I have one artist that I'm fulfilling the obligation right now. We are worldwide distribution through Orchard Sony, and we're getting ready to do our first release coming up probably the first of next year. So Unity 7 is about being unified. The 7 is the number of completion, because I feel like at this line, just like Prime, Prime is about being in the prime of your life. It's about being in a prime element of your life. That's why you're here. Yeah, so if you want to be a great chef, you can come in here and be a great chef. If you want to come in here and be a bartender, you can do that. I don't bird dog anyone here. If you're going to be great, I expect you to be great. That's what it's about. So unity is the same thing. Unifying with people and my number of completion where I feel like I'm a complete man at this point in life. And that's what it is.
All right. Let me get man some more sound effects. So there's a song, you kind of reminded me of a song because you kind of was saying, you kind of was getting out of the music, but there was a song. Every time I try to leave, something keep pulling me back. So the man keep getting called back in the game one way or another, so it's all good. So I'm not sure if you know this or not, but we actually do have something in common. So we were both on the Living 757 TV show.
Yeah.
So can you talk to or tell everybody about your experience on the show?
It was cool. They did come to me for Prime. So we did Prime, and then we also had our band to play for it. But it was good. We did that, and then I think we did another one for Halloween or something like that. I think we did a Halloween show as well. It's very good experience. I got to meet some great people, got to meet some behind the scenes people. And to be honest, I would be remiss not to mention his name, which is Chiquita Thompson, out in the Virginia Beach area. I hired her as a publicist, PR person. Me doing this is really because of her, because like I said, I'm not an out front person or wanted to really talk, but she got me out front with being able to articulate and be able to get on these shows because people want to know you. She said, like, people want to know about you, know your story, bad or good. All my stories aren't good. You know what I mean? I've had ups and downs. It's life. You know what I mean? But I'm here and I just want to have and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to just reveal who I am.
Well, I'm glad you took the time to do this because I'm going to be honest, when I ran across your page and everything, I was like, I know this guy got an interesting story. And I was like, even if it was just me being selfish, just for me, my own personal knowledge, I was like, I know there's some gems that he can drop on me and a lot of other people that are tuning into the podcast. I was like, yo, I got to talk to this guy to see what he got going on because he's doing too much stuff to keep all this information to himself.
Yeah, it's just a lot of drive, man. It's just like a never give up feeling. I don't wish this on a lot of people. You know what I mean? The 4 o'clock in the morning is always without an alarm clock. I don't think I woke up with an alarm clock in over 20 years. I just wake up like, you know what I mean? My family will tell you. I wake up. I had a house out on the water, out in the country, and I would wake
house
up
on the water. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I would just wake up in the morning. We had this big picture window, and the sun would come up there, and I just would wake up because God called me like, yo, trying to get me straight. There was a time in life that I realized my failures and things like that wasn't really my efforts, it's my spirit. It's me fixing who I am, you know what I mean, to become a better man and, get on the right page, you know what I mean? And now, because of that, it just keep me, and that's the part of where I stay in the house, things like that, because I see better results from that type of lifestyle.
And to keep you out of trouble too.
That too, 100%.
And let the church say amen.
Yeah, amen.
All right, so I had to ask you this question. You kind of alluded to it earlier, but are you still actively making or producing music for recording artists, or have you totally transitioned into your other business ventures?
Totally transitioned to other business ventures. I explained that even when I talk to, the producers, I hire the producers. You know what I mean? I can give them direction of what I want. Or I can say, all right, I want this to sound like this. But once they give it to me, then that's when I send it off to like the LA, to the engineer, or change the kit. Change how, make them say this, make it sound a little, I can do that. I'll do that. But being a producer and sitting there like that takes a lot of your time. A lot of time, a lot of vulnerability that I'm not willing to open up to anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically where I'm at with that. But no, if I did, it'd probably be something like, you heard probably like an old Jaheim record sound or something like that. You know what I mean? So that sound's gone.
So you basically are overseeing the projects or giving your input because of your experience, but you're not the one that's actually sitting in there making all the sounds, banging on the... Okay, I got it.
I got to pay for it.
Gotcha. Time is money, right?
Yeah, I got to pay for it now. Yeah.
So out of all of your business ventures, if you could only pick one to do for the rest of your life, which one would you choose and explain why?
Real estate. It's the only thing that loses us, especially black folk. Do you know, at one point in time, I think we had maybe like millions of acres. But then during Prohibition, things like that, our land was taken from us. And I tried at all costs to try to own and try to build. I was, at one time, I was doing a lot of first-time home buyers, leaving them with equity in their homes, trying to, just with the community, trying to help people to have more money. You know what I mean? But real estate is it. I love it. That's what I do now. So from the digging the footer to the foundation to the developing and the framing to the colors and everything you see, I pick out. Everything in here you see, I picked it. You know what I mean? So that's where my creativity goes now, more into developing the houses and, the nuances, the floors, wall colors. That's what I love there.
I like what you said. So, when you have a creative spirit, when you have a creative bug, even if you're not, doing music or other things, you still taking that creativity and you just transferring it to other things.
And I tell the young guys that's under me right now that's into production, look, don't just stay with that. You know what I mean? Because that creativity can move into something else. The same, maybe you might not be successful as a music producer or had a platinum plaque or whatever that is. Maybe you never got that. You know what I mean? But that, whatever that creation is, that's embedded in you. You can use that to further yourself. Like, it's the same exact thing.
Gosh. All right. So I know this is going to sound like a crazy question, but I just had to ask you. So what is your favorite dish at your restaurant?
I'm a salmon guy. I like the salmon. I like the sweet potato mash and asparagus. That's my thing right there. And then I do like the snapper, but I don't feel like messing with the bones sometimes. But I'm a fish guy, so I like definitely this salmon is great here.
Okay. All right. I like that. So take a few minutes and explain your restaurant to someone who has never eaten here before.
First of all, the vibe. You're going to come in, it's going to be welcoming vibe. You're going to be chilled, you're going to be relaxed. You know what I mean? You can have a conversation here. The food, we've been getting great reviews on our foods. Our wings, the wings are great. The salmon, like I said, steak, Oscar. We got all kind. We care about our food. We got a small kitchen. We got people that really care about what they're putting into the food, and that's what I think. I think it's a great place to vibe. I think it's you can come here, especially. I wanted to create something that I would want to come to. I don't have a lot of places that I got a couple of my homeboys from back in the day that we still great friends and stuff, and they may go to some place. I'll go there with them. Some very, very blue moon. Come on, bro, let's go. Come on out. You don't never come out. I'll go do something like that and go somewhere like that. But I didn't have anywhere that I felt that I wanted to go at my age. And so I tried to create something that I felt like, older folk would want to come to and, enjoy.
All right, I'm gonna put this in layman terms for the people out there that just listen to what he just said. So basically, what he's saying is, when you come here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when you come here, this is for the grown and sexy. This is for the, when you want to go out and have a good time, a more mature crowd. The guys might have on blazers, they may have on hard bottoms. They may have on the dress hats, and he also be having bands be coming in. They be having live music and different artists and stuff coming here and they perform. So it's just a good vibe, good environment. If you just want to go out and have some good, clean, wholesome fun and be safe, this is the place to go.
Yep. And let me add in the next couple weeks, I'm adding in comedy. So I have a Friday night be a comedy and band with love. You know what I'm saying? Comedy and band with love. So we're going to start featuring some of the local comics, have them come in and they go mess with the band. The band will play, then the comedy will come on. And then, then I got another surprise on a Saturday night I'm bringing back, where I'm linked in with the radio station and I can do something live stream. So you'll be able to live stream from Prime in the next couple of weeks as well.
I like that, man. Always finding ways to keep. Okay, I hear. So what drives, and I think you might have explained a little bit this earlier, but what drives you to want to continue to be a successful entrepreneur?
My children. There's a word that says a man that doesn't leave a legacy for his children is an abomination. If I'm sent to this earth and I can't, from all my mistakes I've made, if I can't translate that into my children so they don't make the same mistakes that I made and propel them further in their lives, then I'm no good. So my main thing is that my children right now, they're in college, you know what I mean? And I wanted to make sure that they're set up, that they don't have to do all of this and go through what I've been through in my life. You know what I mean? I want to make sure they set up great. So my motivation is my kids.
But since we swapping or talking about Bible verse, it also says if a man don't work, he don't eat.
That too.
Gosh.
Yep.
I'm about to pass around a collection plate, but all right. So before we get out of here, I had to ask you this because this is kind of mainly the premise of this podcast is independent artists learning from other independent artists. So what mistakes, if any, have you made so far in your music career or other business ventures that other people can learn from?
So for music, so you got to understand the dynamics of music is much different now. So you got digital, you got social media, you got all these other things now that make it much easier that I see now. Like with me having Unity 7, it's a much easier process than having to put my book bag on, go into Sony, go to all the A&Rs, play my music, try to get it on. That's a whole different thing to go on. So, I didn't have my business right. I didn't have the knowledge. I was uneducated. So I, first of all, know the business itself and be educated on the business. And you can't rely on the talent because they'll eat you alive. And that happened to me in New York. Me, a Virginia boy, being in New York, I got my tail kicked. You know what I mean? And I'm not afraid to say it, but this is just for purposes only because, me coming from Virginia, we had a certain mindset. And I went out there, they won't pay my money. I got into the hustle and ended up going to prison. And I ended up on Rikers Island for a few years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? When I came home, I was 30 years old, which brought me back to Virginia. And I came here, but I read and studied construction and got the Class A book and learned it while I was incarcerated and came home. And ever since then, so some of my mental focus comes from some of the great men. And I'm telling you this from the great men I ever met and the lessons I got. Because when I was in there, they say, you don't belong here. What you doing in here? You don't even look right in here. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of them cats took me under their wing from death row inmates to everything that set me down and say, boy, what's wrong with you? Get your... you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't belong here. I can tell it. And Jaheim was out. I was so excited. I was bringing the CDs in and like, just my name in it. You know what I mean? And just, they were like, bro, and just the knowledge, the education, the books I had gotten and things like that, 48 Laws of Power, things like, just getting on point with what real life is and how people really think. Cause we had a warped sense of mentality in Virginia, being born in the 70s and coming up in the 80s. New York was on a whole nother level, so I went out there in it and it was craziness.
Yeah, I can imagine, growing up in a place like this and then going to a big city like New York, boy, that's like...
I lived there for 8 years. It was crazy. I mean, it was best time of my life as I look back, because I made it. I made it through. I can look back and be like, I learned everything I needed to know from business to all kind of things there. You know what I mean? Put me on cutting edge to understand some things. And even now, a lot of my friends, most of my male friends, they're from Brooklyn, New York. You know what I mean? That's where I get my movements pretty much from.
Is Brooklyn in the house without a doubt?
I ain't saying all that. We're going to stay up Norfolk though, but we good though.
So what advice would you give other artists that dream of one day being able to branch out and do other things besides music?
Do what feels right, because you're an artist, you feel. All artists feel incredibly. I'm a musician. I know what it's like to feel and do all of that, but whatever your passion take you to, that you will be great in. You have to operate in your passions as a creator, because God gave you that. You got to. And whatever that is, I don't know how you find that. For me, I got into real estate. I love building a house. So I don't know a correct answer for that, but it's out there. And that person know what the other thing was. They know what it is.
No, you said it. So basically you just saying tap into your talent. Whatever your talent and your passion is, just tap into it.
Right.
I like that. So where do you see yourself in business in the next 5 years? Like business wise?
Um, I got some great things that are happening. I wanted. I'm looking at apartment building things that I don't have to wake up in the morning to be moving around. So I was going to the gym, things like that. I see myself owning units and still developing. Maybe more so not here, but in other places abroad. And just like I'm doing some in Turks and Caicos, doing villas, stuff like that. You know, not just here but everywhere for residual income to be a lot better.
So he ain't just here in the United States, yo. He international.
Yeah, that's where it's at though. The villas. Think about that, fellas. Everybody that's building. There's a lot of guys out here that's building, and you know what I mean. This is what they've gotten into. I've been doing it 20 some years. I've watched cats get into the game, and there's a lot of young guys that's doing it because I mean, come on, man. Being in the street is played out. You know what I'm saying? So I see a lot of guys working. I see guys that I can name like Sheen, this guy named Sheen with the culture group, the guys that's in culture. I saw him the other day pushing carts throughout Lowe's real quick. That made me feel, you know what I mean? Like, that's what's up. Like, you know what I mean? But I've been doing it 20 some years and I'm watching these cats all evolve into that. And that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
All right. So, take the time to tell the audience anything you want them to know that we haven't talked about already for whatever reason.
Maybe just that your focus has to be your focus. Like, you know, we have to learn here. I want us to have a better mindset, mentality of how we can draw together culturally. You know what I'm saying? I wonder how can we get to a place to be like in Atlanta? How can we get to being like a DC where you have that culture or whatever? I know we have a lot of stuff to work on with our municipality. You know what I mean? We got a lot to work on with them because you got to remember we're in Norfolk, but a lot of the people that's in these places aren't from here. So it's, we just, you know, it can happen. And I'm proof of that. I went before them and I gave them my spiel of what I am and what I expect and showed them credentials and they could call New York or talk to things I've done. You know what I mean? And I think that, if we could do that culture wise along with that and getting our city, it ain't just on them. It's on the people at the top as well. You know what I mean? Holding it back. We got to get rid of people that just want to have a stranglehold on everything just for domination. And that's just, you see that even right now in the news, even with, you know, in the hierarchy of the United States, you know, it's the same thing in your local government as well. You got to have people that's open and that's just they want us to work together. I think a lot of that's starting to happen. You know what I mean? But it's going to take time. And people got to stop thinking about that bread like that. I mean, yeah, I want to live and I want to eat, but so do they. And so does the next person too. And I get it.
All right. So before we get out of here, is there anything that you would like to ask me?
Yeah. What got you into podcasting?
Well, I've always had a personality, outgoing personality. You know, I'm a people's person. I like to talk to people, and I've learned that every time I talk to somebody, I learn something, and I like learning things. So that's always been cool. And to me, the podcasting is just kind of like another extension from the music. I mean, I'm not
so
actually
you're into music as well.
Yeah, I'm a recorder. I sing.
Oh,
so
okay.
I sing. And I also make beats, but I don't play keys like you. I'm one of them guys that could just bang sounds, put sounds together and say.
Oh, yeah. I can take you down the street and get on Baby Grand and I'll make them all stop.
So this is just like another extension of that. But to be honest with you, I'm getting older now and I'm starting to see that, you know, the being a music artist is a young man's game.
Yes.
I'm not that guy anymore.
Right.
So I at some point I had to be realistic with myself and I had to find something that I could kind of transition into.
So basically you did what I'm already said.
Basically.
Got you.
So this is like my transition.
Dope. That's dope.
So I still can record a song, make music or whatever if I really need to or want to. That's still my passion. But this right here is more realistic for me at my age going forward if I really want to keep pursuing being creative.
Right, because it's more about this and you touching lives and you touching people and you not only just learning, brother, but you're bringing, you know what I mean, other people forward. And I admire that, you know what I mean? Because I've been a person, most of the time, I'm not going to talk. I don't do a lot of talking, but I mean, like I said, you made it. I think you're great at what you do, especially if you made me talk. You know
I
what I mean?
appreciate it, man. Hey, look, you could have sat there and I just would have been like, okay, so you ain't gonna answer that question. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next question.
No, we rolling. We rolling.
All right, so before we get out of here, just tell the audience where they can find you online.
Okay, so my Instagram is CJ_Upton757. And then if you go on there, then you can click on my bio and you'll see all the businesses, the websites, everything's there. So once again, it's Instagram.com, then the slash is CJ_Upton, UPTON 757.
So when they go to that Instagram page, they can get to all of the other links, like the restaurant,
cannabis, the CBD shop, the, you know what I mean, the real estate, the Unity 7. They can see all those websites. They, you know, everything is right there. All the where I have partners. I can't have this interview without naming Varnell Johnson as a great mind. He was the first black man that had the power to write a check in the industry. And I lived with him. He brought you R. Kelly. He brought you Mr. Biggs when the R. Kelly thing was going on. He brought you Cisco, the Drew Hill. He brought you all the way from even when you watched the movie with Ike and Tina, What Love Got to Do With It. When at the end, remember when Tina left and signed to another, left Ike? He the man that did that. I mean, he's the greatest. You should everybody need to look up Varnell Johnson. He's one of the greatest executives of all time. He's right there. He's the president of the Living Legends Foundation. But I say that because he died maybe like a month and a half ago.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's my big bro. And I've learned so much from him. You know what I mean? With how I move or whatever. And when I call those people and I tell them what I'm experiencing sometime in Virginia, you know, he's say, man, don't worry about them. You're 100 miles an hour, they going 50. Don't worry, but he died, and I just wanted to mention his name, and I want everybody, you know, that listeners, just look up Varnell Johnson. That's who taught me the game when it comes to the music, had me around everything. Like, I mean, I seen it all. I done had dinner with Robert De Niro sitting down, you know, in L.A. and stuff like that. Like, just so many different, all my movements come really from that man there. So just look up different people, learn your history. If you're a musician, you should know your history. You know who's doing what. Kevin Liles. Kevin Liles was his personal assistant.
Wow.
Right. So these are the people that I learned from. And you know, it brings me to, sometimes it's unpopular, you know, my decisions and what I do. But I think at this point now it's right. And I'm happy where I'm at. But congratulations to you, man, on this podcast, man. I'm proud of you, man. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take it. I mean, I ain't done nothing yet.
I didn't know when you called me, I didn't know what this was about to be.
No, man, we just chopping it up, man. We're just having a good time.
Yeah, we are.
But I do appreciate you taking time. You know, I know you're a very busy man. You got a lot going on, but I do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on the podcast. And I'm definitely going to be tapped in with you and seeing what you got going on in the near future.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Appreciate you.